This show is clean.
Cheese.
Pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 771. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on Earth, located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Today we hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster. Plus, it's the return of the much-loved feature, the MIKELOPEDIA INSANICA, where we look at some interesting recent news stories. And scientists are saying that there might be an ocean on one of Saturn's moons.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm here at the last place on Earth, and I'm surrounded by goons.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
So later on, we'll find out about that Saturn moon thing. Hey, on the show, the last one we did, there was Floyd the Floorman and John Deere the engineer, and both of them did admit that they wanted to start a bowling league with Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman, and he wasn't in Smallville. They want to call their team the Justice Bowling League.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
To which there was much laughter and merriment. We danced around. It was quite the autumnal scene.
Mike's
So that's
Daily
where we're at.
Podcast.
So I am taking this health class.
Yeah!
It's a health and nutrition class. And I was speaking to the nutritionist. We were discussing milk. And he brought up some interesting points. Look who just walked in. Hi, Mark. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing?
And it's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you
What?
we want to be on a bowling team with Superman. That would be awesome. Set it up, make it happen, Mike.
Yeah, make that happen. Because I want to be in a bowling team with a good-looking guy who has an amazing torso. I think to be a superhero on TV or in the movies, that's a prerequisite. You need a good torso. So I'll never be a superhero. God, I'm glad the pressure's off. Do you guys like cheese? Mark, cheese is the most wonderful substance in the world.
Yeah, Mike, you know, it's really good on just about anything. It transforms food into some kind of delicious heavenly delight.
Well, cheese and dairy, according to this nutritionist that I was speaking to yesterday, we completely don't need dairy. It's like something we need when we're babies. It helps us bond with our moms. It's a nature thing where in nature the babies bond with their moms, and that's important in order for the kids to stay with their moms.
Right, we get it.
So that's the only use for it, and then the babies need a lot of things that are in the milk. But that's it. We don't need milk afterwards. And cows, the cow milk that is going to the calves, well, you know what, a calf is huge. They weigh a lot and they need all that fat and other nutrients that are in the milk.
If that's true, how come I don't ever see a calf eat a pizza?
The cheese is something that we ended up, making, and it tasted so damn good. We eat so much of it, put it on everything, and but it's really not the best thing for us. Mark, you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth right now. Cheese is great. I gotta go buy queso. And as she walked out, look who walked in.
Hello there, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy.
Please don't tell me you made a cheese root beer.
Mike, I made a cheese. Root beer. Oh, boy.
Oh, disgusting. So that's a nacho root beer.
No, it's my root beer.
No, I know it's your root beer, but it's a nacho root beer.
It is too my root beer. Third base.
What? Oh, we got a little Abbott and Costello-y there. But on to astronomical things. According to the Huffington Post, one of the moons of Saturn could be home to underground water or possibly even a subsurface ocean. And if so, it might be friendly to life. After carefully examining Mimas, the moon Mimas, we found it librates, that is, it subtly wobbles around the moon's polar axis. That according to a Cornell research associate. Let's hear it for Cornell. The wobble, measured by the Cassini spacecraft, has about twice the surface displacement that scientists expected. The Cornell expert says, we're very excited about this measurement because it may indicate much about the satellite's insides. Nature is essentially allowing us to do the same thing that a child does when she shakes a wrapped gift in hopes of figuring out what's hidden inside. And then opens the present, gets the present, and then eats a bunch of cheese. No, that expert did not say that last part. The wobble indicates there could be something lurking beneath the surface, possibly an ocean. Then again, maybe not. The Cornell team believes that a weirdly shaped rocky core could also produce the same wobbling effect. If there is an ocean below, the scientists estimate it's between 15 miles and 18 miles beneath the moon's surface. Until now, the moon, Mimas, was known mostly for the large Herschel crater that makes it resemble the Death Star.
Luke, I'm your father. Eat more cheese.
People thought this was a boring moon, the scientists said, but now the new study puts it on the map as a place within the solar system that could hold the right conditions for some sort of life. Before, they thought it was just a big rock. But some scientists are already dismissing the theory, as they might do at the University of California, Santa Cruz, not too far away from us here in Podcaster Valley, California. One of the scientists there said, it's really hard to understand how an ocean could survive for billions of years inside something as small as Mimas. So, what do you think about Mimas? What do you think about cheese? What do you think about a bowling league with Superman? What superhero would you want on your bowling team? Email me, MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Also, email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show, MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. There's also the website, MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com, a wonderful place that has all kinds of things on it, including links to where to listen to the show in iTunes. Subscribe to the show in iTunes, and you can rate and comment on the show, and if you do that, that helps us out. That helps our ranking. There's also links to where to listen to this show on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher, Mixcloud, Podomatic. We're on Yelp, Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook. Like the Facebook page, and when I post a new show, share it with your friends. More people find out about us that way, too. Links to all of that at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com, as well as the Amazon deal of the day. Click on that and buy something at a great discount, and that helps us out. Oh, if you buy anything through Amazon, go through the Amazon deal of the day link that we have at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. It'll take you to Amazon. And if you buy anything by going through MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com first, it helps us out. There's also the blog, the Daily Podcast Picture, and all my past interviews there at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
The MIKELOPEDIA Insanica.
Boy, this is a mighty fine book. It's called The MIKELOPEDIA Insanica.
Janet Jackson with the song Again. What else happens again? Well, when we reuse things, right? We get to use them again. Recycle, reuse, reprofit. Startups, business startups of all types are trying to make money selling your unwanted stuff. This according to Time magazine. In fact, there's one place called Twice where they resell clothes at a fraction of their original cost. It is one of many startups attempting to make the environmentally sound choice preferable and easy for consumers while making a profit in the process. The statistics driving these efforts are shocking. In the U.S., 90% of mobile devices are thrown away rather than recycled. Up to 40% of the food produced gets trashed. Americans junk some 12 million tons of textiles each year. There's a site called Yurtle where people trade things they might otherwise throw out. Now, there's also other companies, including, Fobo. They want your old phone. They're currently in San Francisco. The app runs 97-minute auctions. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But there's also Spoiler Alert. They want your unsold food. It hopes to connect people with excess food to those who need it. And Twice, as we mentioned, with old clothes, Twice operates like a brick-and-mortar clothes reseller, but online. Consider the steps involved in listing a used iPhone on eBay. You take a picture, set a fair price, outline the specs, connect your bank, pay fees, wait a week for bids to come in, and then hope it actually sells. These are inefficiencies that Silicon Valley types seek out like bloodhounds. Quote, people actually feel guilt that they're holding on to these things, says Phobo founder for the electronic auction site. His name is Ryan Mickle, where bidding lasts only 97 minutes and the company suggests starting prices for you. But in surveys with potential users, Ryan found that ignoring old stuff still causes less angst than confronting what can be the messy process of getting it to someone else. Many items cluttering closets and garages are less desirable than gadgets, DVDs, picture frames, bird books, old wine carafes. These are items companies like Licetia and Yurtle want on their sites, where by giving things away, people earn credits that they can spend on other users' property. The sites aim to replace the rush that accompanies buying something new with the fun of bartering and the satisfaction that comes from giving away something you don't need. People are seeking out human connection in our day-to-day economic transactions, says Arun Sundarajan. He is a business professor for the New York University, and he studies these budding economies. There is non-economic value that comes from giving your stuff to other people, he says. He also says that if a company like Yurtle achieves its aim of displacing 25% of new sales, that's good for the economy because it decreases waste. On the flip side, there is a possibility of job losses among people who make those new items. But he believes that other jobs in newer sectors would replace them, as happened when technological innovation put farmers out of work.
What's your sign? She said, aquarium. I said, great! Let's get tanked.
Ooh, water. After taking many small steps towards its goal of achieving zero waste by 2020, San Francisco's Board of Supervisors has approved a ban on the sale of disposable water bottles and is likely to make its biggest impact on large permitted events, where big draws have inevitably meant huge amounts of plastic bottles turning up in the city's waste stream. But why was a ban necessary if the bottles we've grown so accustomed to are recyclable? Asks Bay Crossings newspaper. San Francisco actually does an excellent job of recycling, but the amounts of resources used in the manufacturing process, not to mention in transportation and recycling, are mind-blowing. So the issue isn't recycling, it's conserving that energy and those resources. While recycling is important, it's hardly a panacea when you consider the harm done by the use of disposable plastics. The average American consumes 167 single-use bottles of water each year, but only recycles 38 of those bottles. Recology reports that it recycles 10 to 15 million single-use bottles each year, and that doesn't include the bottles cashed in at redemption centers or the bottles that end up in landfills because they are disposed of improperly. The oil required to make enough plastic to meet America's demand for bottled water would fuel 1.3 million cars for a year, and that doesn't include the oil used for transporting the bottled water. So how did San Francisco and the rest of the country get hooked on bottled water? No one seems to know when it started or how it started or when it started, and now most people seem to do it strictly out of habit. But here in San Francisco, at least, they won't need to be drinking bottled water in the first place because the water that they get in San Francisco is from Hetch Hetchy, which is some of the best quality and best tasting water in the country. Thus, what the ordinance's authors, San Francisco supervisors David Hsu, Eric Marr, and Jane Kim, have set out to do is reprogram an entire city to think outside the bottle when it comes to its drinking water, which they have done with compost and recycle bins, which people use now. Supervisors Hsu, Marr, and Kim didn't dream up the idea of a ban on bottled water entirely on their own. Their ordinance was inspired by an executive order issued back in 2007 by then-Mayor Gavin Newsom that prohibited the purchase of bottled water by city agencies, as well as the Port of San Francisco's 2012 ban on the sale of bottled water at large events held on its property. In the case of those Port of San Francisco